The dog visits his dying owner, and within seconds, something happened that left everyone in the room speechless. The hospital room was wrapped in a heavy silence, broken only by the soft beeping of the heart monitor. Nurses walked softly past the doorway, their voices hushed, as if even the walls understood that the man lying in the bed was running out of time. On the bed, James lay motionless, his breathing shallow and uneven. The staff had grown used to seeing families gather in moments like this, but James's room was different. He had only one family member left who truly understood him, and that family wasn't human. Down in the hospital lobby, waiting with an anxious heart and perked ears, was Max, the loyal German shepherd who refused to let his owner face his final moments alone. Max's paws clicked softly against the polished hospital floor as he was led toward the elevators. His tail was low, and his amber eyes darted nervously at the unfamiliar sights and sounds. He didn't understand hospitals, but he understood one thing. James needed him. The loyal German shepherd had been restless all morning, whining at the door until the family friend finally drove him to the hospital. When the elevator doors opened with a ding, Max hesitated for just a moment before stepping inside. His reflection shimmered in the metal walls, ears twitching with every sound. A nurse in the corner glanced down at him and whispered, "Poor thing. He knows." The ride felt endless, but when the doors opened again, Max immediately pulled toward the scent he knew best, his owner. Down the hallway, nurses and patients stopped to watch. A big, beautiful German shepherd walking with such purpose was a rare sight in these cold quarters. When he reached James's room, Max paused at the doorway, his head tilting. His ears twitched as he caught the faintest sound of his owner's breathing. Without waiting, he gently patted inside. James lay motionless, his face pale against the crisp white hospital pillow. The rhythmic beep of the monitor filled the room, a steady reminder that time was running out. His chest rose and fell slowly, each breath a struggle. His hand rested limply on the blanket, and the faint scent of antiseptic hung heavy in the air. Max crept closer, his claws barely making a sound on the tiled floor. When he reached the bedside, he pressed his nose gently against James's hand. For a brief second, James's fingers twitched. His tired eyes fluttered open, and when he saw Max, tears welled up instantly. He whispered, voice trembling, You came, buddy?" The words were almost lost under the hum of the machines. Without hesitation, Max climbed halfway onto the bed, resting his head against his owner's chest. His ears flattened and his body trembled as if he could feel James's pain. A nurse stepped forward to intervene, but James lifted a weak hand, signaling to let Max stay. The room went silent except for the beeping monitors and James's uneven breaths. In that sacred moment, man and dog clung to each other, as if the world outside no longer existed. The hospital staff stood frozen, watching the emotional reunion. No one moved as James's trembling fingers tangled in Max's thick fur. For a man who hadn't smiled in weeks, a faint, peaceful curve formed on his lips. "Good boy. My best boy," he whispered, his voice breaking. Max let out a low whine, pressing his paw firmly onto his owner's chest, as if to promise he would never leave. Suddenly, the monitor beside the bed beeped erratically. Nurses exchanged worried glances and moved closer, ready to respond. But what happened next left everyone speechless. The irregular rhythm slowly steadied. James's breathing, once shallow and labored, became stronger, as if the presence of his loyal companion breathed life back into him. Tears filled the nurse's eyes. She mouthed silently, "He's stabilizing." The room felt almost magical. Max licked James's hand gently, and a spark of recognition passed between them. A bond beyond words, beyond time. For a moment, it was as if the dog's love had reached into the depths of his owner's soul, reminding him of all the reasons he had to fight, even for a little longer. The once silent room now hummed with hope, and no one could believe what they were witnessing. Doctors and nurses gathered outside the room, peeking through the glass window, completely captivated by the scene. James had been unresponsive for days, and many had quietly prepared for the worst. Yet the moment Max arrived, everything changed. The loyal dog sat pressed against his owner, refusing to move, his eyes locked on the man who had once been his entire world. Then something extraordinary happened. James slowly lifted his weak hand and whispered, "Max, I missed you, buddy." His voice cracked, but it was the first time he had spoken in over a week. Gasps filled the room. The doctor stepped closer, monitoring the vital signs that were now improving, while nurses held back tears, witnessing a connection that science could barely explain. Max adjusted himself carefully on the bed, resting his head gently against James's chest, and a deep sigh of relief escaped his body. It was as if he knew his job wasn't just to visit. He was there to heal his human's heart. Word of the miraculous moment spread through the hospital like wildfire. Doctors from other floors came to see the patient, who had been fading away, now suddenly awake and smiling faintly at the touch of his dog. Even hardened medical staff, who had seen countless life-and-death situations, stood silently, some with tears in their eyes. Max refused to leave James's side, curling up beside him as if guarding him from the world. Whenever James's hand trembled, Max nudged it gently, offering comfort that no medication ever could. Nurses noted his vitals improving steadily, his heart rate stabilizing, his oxygen levels rising. It was clear this reunion wasn't just emotional, it was changing him physically. The head doctor whispered to the family, "I've never seen anything like this. Whatever fight he had left, that dog just brought it back." The family watched in awe, realizing that Max's love was doing what medical science could not. In that quiet hospital room, hope bloomed where despair had lived for days. Weeks passed, and the hospital staff noticed an incredible change in James. The man who had once been frail and silent was now sitting up, smiling, and talking again. Doctors were stunned. His vitals were improving faster than anyone expected. They quietly admitted that Max's constant presence had done what medicine alone could not. One sunny morning, the doctor walked in with the best news James could ever hear. "You're going home today." Tears filled his eyes as he looked down at Max, who wagged his tail happily as if he already knew. Nurses gathered at the doorway, smiling and clapping, watching the once dying man walk, slowly but surely, out of the hospital with his loyal German shepherd by his side. Returning home felt like a dream. James opened his front door, and Max bounded in, running straight to his favorite spot by the window. From that day forward, life became peaceful and joyful again. Every morning, James and Max would take long walks through the neighborhood, neighbors waving as they passed. Together, they created new memories, cherishing every simple moment. Against all odds, love and loyalty had triumphed, giving them both a second chance at life and a forever bond that could never be broken.